I have you muted and me muted because technically it's live right now.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it's just doing a countdown.
Oh, no shit.
That's why I muted yours and mine's muted. The intro video is already pulled up.
Alright, tracking. So I'm just forwarding you the email Griff sent to me. The other guy, I guess, isn't making it tonight. Had some family issues going on.
What's up, guys? This is Wes with Sincity Tactical. Thank you for joining into the live stream show. We are going to bring in our co-host Jax right now. Let's get him pulled up. You got to start your video. Oh, wait, never mind. My fault. There we go.
Right.
My fault.
It's all good, brother. It's all good.
All right. So we were originally supposed to have Griff on. He's got some work-related stuff going on. So he's unfortunately unable to join us tonight. But
sadly,
we're going to press forward.
Show must go on.
Absolutely. So when we do these podcasts like we talked about on your stream, it's something that we do for fun. We want to give people as much information as we possibly can. And that's why on the website you'll see the upcoming topics and stuff. So what you would have found on there was the upcoming topics for this exact podcast or live stream show. So once a week, you'll be able to check and see what we have going on the actual website, which you can see on the scrolling banner at the bottom, sincitytactical.xyz or minnesotaoverlander.xyz. That will take you to the website. On the homepage, you will also find some deals and the upcoming topics for the week. So first thing that I want to get into, besides the fact that we've got some new merchandise going on the store right now, we've got some collaborated stuff where you can get a shirt like this with the Sincity Tactical logo in the front, Minnesota Overlanders logo on the back, and vice versa. We have shirts with that logo in the front and my logo in the back, plus some like pull the trigger stuff. So exciting stuff going on. And we did do a raffle for a Sincity Tactical gear item. And I would like to announce that the winner of the SCT raffle was Lauren Mack. She will be receiving a Sincity Tactical shirt, and that will be sent out probably by next week. So congratulations, Lauren Mack. You've got a shirt coming.
Indeed. And as far as the Minnesota Overlanders raffle goes, you obviously have the bigger following. I guess realistically, when it comes down to it, Lauren Mack also is the winner of my raffle drawing, so she is going to receive a Minnesota Overlander beanie hat for the good old winter months. Not sure if it's cold there, but hey, guess what? You got one coming to you here within the next week.
Perfect. Even better. So Miss Lauren Mack, you will be receiving two items actually, which is pretty awesome. You're going to get a Sincity Tactical item and a Minnesota Overlanders item as well. We definitely want to get more people involved with the giveaways and stuff like that. And hey, Jax, can you check the comments for me?
Yeah, I got you there, brother.
One of the things that we wanted to talk about with the upcoming topics is cheap new guns. That's the very first topic that we have going on, and that topic was a Griff topic. So what I'd like to do on his behalf, because he currently is not here, is I'm going to read off his notes for him that was given to me so we can give you guys that information still. So for cheap new guns, it looks like he did some research on a PSA or Palmetto State Armory PS9. It's called a Dagger. It has a DLC coated barrel and slide, a 3.9-inch barrel, comes with one Magpul 15-round mag, a mag stripper cutouts, metal 3 3-dot sights, and it accepts Glock 19 parts and magazines, and those run roughly around $300. So the other item he put on there was an ATI FXH 45M. It's Moxie chambered in 45. It has a 5-inch barrel, poly frame, Parkerized slide, 8-round magazine. That's roughly around $400-ish. It has molded finger grooves, large trigger guard. It's got a Picatinny rail. It's got an ambi safety on it. It's got optic cutouts and Glock pattern sights. It is also 1911 style with 1911 style parts. So that's pretty cool. Both of those are actually pretty decently priced. So that's awesome to see that.
Yeah, I mean, you can't ask for much more nowadays, especially with everything getting more and more expensive as time goes on. Just wanted to do a quick interruption here just for a second. It looks like Justin Greenlee subscribed to the Sincity Tactical YouTube channel. So thank you for subscribing to that.
Absolutely.
Now, as far as, back to the main thing there about it being a reasonably priced gun, and with the features that both firearms have, they're actually, you can't asked for much more than that, especially being as reasonably priced without it being a money pit where it's going to cost you an arm and a leg.
Exactly. So very, very nice that we have that going. And I'm going to try to keep that maybe like a once a month or once every month and a half type of topic. So then we can always try to give some updates on new stuff that's coming out.
Oh,
so what happened?
I just heard a loud bang outside. Not sure if there was a transformer that blew or what, but the light flickered the whole night. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, no, you got to be attack going. All right, so the next topic that we have is a tactical gear item. This is one thing that we want to do on every single podcast or live stream, is give you guys information on some tactical geared item, whether that be survival, prepping, firearms accessory, something along the lines of that. We want to bring up. Or range gear, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Range gear even. Or even just EDC, cover your own ass type of gear.
Exactly.
And so I guess being as Griff, not being here, and that he looks like though he did send us his 2 that he was going for. So I guess
only pick one of them. Pick one out of the 2 so he can save it for the next time he comes.
Yep. Guess we might as well just pick one for right this second. No, wait a minute. No, you're right. It is one, I think. It just is basically who it's made by and partnered with. So basically, Griff's tactical gear item is a Cryptek K-Dog jacket, which runs you about $230. It's wearable from 60 degrees down to 15 degrees. Features tons of pockets and underarm vent zippers. So for those of you out there with some pretty sweaty armpits, you got some ventilation there to get some cold breeze in. It's Carhartt wash duck jacket, Sherpa lined, hooded lightweight, and then realistically, even though he already said down to 15 degrees, I guess if you really wanted to wear it in the colder months, you can wear it all the way down to negative 25 degrees. And that's awesome, especially up here in Minnesota with it getting cold. I know people will differ in choice when it comes to warm jackets or windbreakers during this season. I know I've seen a lot of those Milwaukee heated jackets out there too that are ran by their 12-volt battery. Those are nice, but up here in Minnesota, we have that weird weather. You want to experience all 4 seasons in one day, come to Minnesota, wait about 20 minutes, and you'll get it. So the jacket that he's talking about is a pretty decent one for the type of weather we get here in the fall.
Yeah, that's not a jacket necessarily that I think you would find out here in Vegas, but there is situations where we get below 60 degrees. So I guess it could be practical in certain situations. That, for me, though, is a jacket that I would keep in the truck as a vehicle loadout type of item. So if you go camping or up into the mountains or something, you get stuck, you have some form of a way to warm yourself up. So
exactly.
Awesome. So what is your personal tactical gear item?
So mine for this week is going to be the 511 tourniquet holder. So I know we've talked a lot in the last few podcasts about, the differences between boo gears and actual combat medical gear, which will tie in with another subject of ours later on in the podcast.
That's actually the next topic.
Yeah. So this tourniquet holder, it's, a little bit on the spendy side, but then again, not really for what it's made out of. It's about $40. Again, made by 511 Tactical. The holder details here, it features injection molded polycarbonate tourniquet holder. It also is running a stainless steel belt clip up to 2.25 inches wide, and a molly clip accessory is included. It's strictly designed for the cat tourniquet, though. So, if you go out and you get any other kind of tourniquet, it's not going to work for that.
Like a rat's or something?
Yeah, the rat tourniquet. However, personally, my opinion, if I'm going to trust my life to a tourniquet, I did 6 years, as we all know, in the Army. I trust it to a cat tourniquet any day of the week. And that's what I run in my personal IFAC. So that's what I, truly trust my life to and believe in when it comes to tourniquets. Now, it also has a dual access design with tension grasp feature, and then a windlass clip and rod protector. The overall dimensions of this tourniquet holder are 5.9 inches high by 2.5 inches long by 1.7 inch depth. Now, again, you can run whatever you want to. You can keep it in your IFAC kit, but if you have a spare one and you're looking for a practical EDC use for it, I definitely go ahead and throw it in the tourniquet holder myself. It's built in partnership with Fieldcraft Survival. The tourniquet holder provides secure carry of a cat tourniquet. Its proprietary design allows rapid access from the top or bottom of the holder while protecting both the windlass clip and rod from abrasion. And then the tourniquet holder includes 2 stainless steel clips, so not just one, for attachment to either a belt up to 2.25 inch or a molly platform. So you could either mount it on your everyday carry belt, or if you're really feeling spunky and prep like myself and Wes and have a plate carrier, you can definitely go ahead and mount it on your molly vest and call it a day. So it's a multi-purposeful piece of gear when it comes down to the medical aspect of carrying tourniquets, which is awesome.
Absolutely. And it's awesome that the research that you did brought up Fieldcraft Survival. So I actually want to talk about that a little bit. Fieldcraft Survival is a company operated and owned by a man named Mike Glover. He is a badass motherfucker. You guys got to look him up. Former contractor, former SEAL, former Green Beret. One or the other. He's either SEAL or Green Beret. And he has a channel.
He was just a Green SEAL.
Huh?
He was just a Green SEAL.
A green seal, yeah.
Combine them both.
I think he did some CIA contracting too. I know he did some private sector stuff, but Fieldcraft Survival is a channel on YouTube, and that man is extremely smart. Very, very, very well-rounded in his craft. Pun intended, Fieldcraft Survival. It's funny. I actually just watched a video by him the other day where he's talking about how the cat's tourniquet, rat's tourniquet, all these different types of tourniquets are all still being 100% designed the exact same way that they were 60 years ago. Why has the cat's tourniquet or any of these other tourniquets not evolved in 60 years? So one thing that he's trying to do is, he's trying to develop and design a new style of tourniquet, which, once again, check out Fieldcraft Survival, and you can watch that video. As far as I remember, he's got a lot of medical training and stuff like that as well. But that's awesome. Cat's tourniquet, very important tool to have, not only for you, but anybody else that you have with you. So my personal tactical item that I want to talk about, and I am going to show you right now. I decided to go with slings, at least on this one. So what you're looking at here is a 2-point sling, which can be converted into a 1-point sling. I found that this one particularly, it's an off-brand. There's no name brand or anything like that on it. Is too heavy. It's too clunky. It's got too many straps and buckles and things on it. But this is what I was running originally on my rifle. Now, what is a sling, right? A sling is there to hold your rifle to your body so you can free up your hands to either A, run a pistol or do something with your hands that you normally would not be able to do if you were holding a gun. So the traditional 2-point sling is a simple strap that runs between the barrel and the stock of your rifle so that it can be carried on your back and or on your front, a design that has been around for hundreds of years. However, modern 2-point slings are designed that the rifle hangs in front of you with the barrel pointed toward the ground on your support side and the stock near your dominant shoulder. This placement allows the shooter to bring the rifle up to bear smoothly and quickly or push the weapon to the side when it's not needed. But I have since changed to a different style of sling, which I'm going to show you now. This is a single point sling, and I guess this is going to be a dual tactical gear type of conversation. Now, a viewer and supporter of mine named Alex Alfonso on Instagram, his name is on there. Let me see what his username is. Give him a shout out real quick. Alfer1227. So ALFER 1227. He handmade this. This whole sling is made out of paracord. He did a bunch of braiding on it, made a very nice shoulder spot, and made it to where it has a locking clip. And then, of course, it's got a little skull on it, smoking a cigar, and the quick detach clip, a QD mount clip. So very, very nice. This is what I switched to. This is what I run. And this is actually the most comfortable sling that I've ever had. So shout out to him, Alfer1227 or Alex Alfonso. Find him on Instagram. You might be able to shoot him out a message and may or may not sell one to you. Just depends. He made this one for me for free, which is very, very awesome. Big shout out to him for supporting the channel and supporting what I'm doing. So that is my tactical gear items, is these slings. Now, 2-point slings still can come in handy. I just personally prefer a single point sling.
Yeah, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with personal preference. I mean, I myself think the single point sling is a little bit more comfortable compared to the dual point sling that I was using when I was in service. And, the overall versatility of the one you have is definitely nice. I mean, let's just say, for instance, not saying it's ever going to happen, because if you're going to get into a gunfight, you always bring enough ammunition for the job, which is usually about your one magazine, because you don't shoot to kill, you shoot to stop the threat. And but let's just say for some odd reason you're having an off day and couldn't hit the broadside of a fucking barn if you tried. You pop that thing off and you can use that sling as, you know, a melee weapon if you really wanted to. It's made out of 550 paracord, so it's durable stuff. I'll tell you one thing, I wouldn't want to get hit by that fucking thing.
No, absolutely not. That would definitely hurt. But the 550 cord part of it is not only, you know, strong, durable, like you said, it's also a survival tool now. If I'm out on a foot patrol and I get lost or something, which land nav and stuff like that are skills that I've done a lot of training and stuff with, so I highly doubt that I would get lost, but there's plenty of people who do it a lot more than me that end up getting lost. So there is a chance that that can happen. Paracord is one of the most reliable survival tools that you can have. You can suspend food up in trees or whatever to try to keep bears away from it if you needed to. You could use it to tie in between two trees and make a lean-to tent if you had to. You could use it as a belt, shoelaces. There's plenty of applications that you could use it for. Say
one of them.
Yeah. Say you hurt your leg or something like that and you have to make a splint because you broke your leg. You can get 2 sticks in your paracord and wrap it from, you know, the bottom of the wood all the way up to the top of the wood. Now you've got a very durable splint to at least help you until you can get further help from someone else. There are so many different applications for paracord. It's not even funny. It's definitely a great survival tool. Plus, it's very lightweight and easy to carry. You can bundle it up, make a small spool, and have 40, 50, 50, 60, 70, 7,000 feet.
Well, I mean,
you know what I mean? You can carry so much.
Of that, I was actually pricing out some paracord myself because I need to pick up some more. A 500-foot spool of it on Amazon, I believe, was like $65. Now, if you want a 1,000-foot, you're looking at about 147 something.
Which is not bad for everything that it can actually do. Man, exactly. I got a story here. So, obviously, don't ever do this. I don't recommend doing this. I was in a pinch. I had no other choice. The wheel well on the inside of my fender had broke free from its clips, was sitting there smacking against the tire and stuff like that. So I took out my handy-dandy little knife, shoved a hole in it, ran paracord through it, tied it up, pulled it back, tied it back off of the Nerf bar in the back to make it home. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where it comes in handy to have. That's one of those items, too, that I keep in the truck.
Yeah, and, I mean, it's, again, like we've been saying, it's multi-purposeful. You can do an improv 210 out of it, but even then, not only can you use it as, like, the top portion of your improv 210 to make the angle, you can take, if it's not long enough necessarily, or you want to stake it down, you can take smaller little cuts of the 550 cord, feed it through the eyelets of, a tarp, and stake it to the ground.
Yep. You could use it for trapping, too, when it comes to hunting. I mean, obviously, I don't recommend that you use a snare or something, but if it really came down to it, you could use it. If you had black cord, you might be able to fish with it. There's so many different applications for rope. It's amazing what you can do, especially because of the tensile strength of it. It's so strong. I don't know if anybody's ever tried to just grab it and rip it. Can't do it.
Yeah,
I've tried.
I tried it one time to test out the theory of that 550 cord, and I'll tell you one thing. My hand regretted it instantly.
Right. There's a lot of applications that you can do, especially if you braid it. Now you've just completely maximized the strength of the paracord. But that is our tactical gear section. We're trying to keep everything around 10 minutes per topic, so we're not overwhelming everybody. Now, this is a Jack's topic. He's got more training and knowledge on this than I do. Not saying that I'm not well trained in it, but this is something I would rather him talk about because he can talk about it from a military background standpoint, and that is CLS training.
Yes,
Go
sir.
ahead and tell him what CLS is.
So CLS stands for Combat Lifesaver. Now, there's a civilianized version of it called BLS, Basic Lifesaver, which, again, that goes back into our original statement of difference between boo-boo kits and actual field combat grade injuries that you have to treat. Now, in the BLS stuff, it's more like CPR and shit like that. Once you get into the combat lifesaver training, though, it's more how to treat a casualty under fire, or in a tactical situation. Let's say you're taking fire, your buddy gets hit, and he's hit at the leg, just right above the kneecap, and he's bleeding. It's hit an artery. Well, first things first, you want to get your buddy to cover. And we'll talk about the difference between cover and concealment later. But you want to give them the cover, and then you want to take their IFAC if they have one on them. If not, then you got to use yours, unfortunately. But I mean, hey, the shit happens in the heat of the moment, and you ain't got a choice. It's either you use your shit or your buddy dies. So you pull out their tourniquet, you place it normally about 2 to 3 fingers width-wise above where the wound actually is. You want to place that tourniquet, pull it tight, and then take the windlass strap there and go ahead and tighten it down until the bleeding stops. Secure it, put the Velcro strap over the top, mark the time, and then go into further examining the rest of the casualty's body, looking for other wounds, check their extremities, their arms, their legs, shit like that, and make sure that, you've made sure that you've done a full, in the field examination of it, and try to get them out of there as quick as possible. Basically, a hasty medevac is what I'd like to call that. And then from that point, you don't take the tourniquet off. The medical professionals will deal with that once they go from in the field care to actual hospitalized care. That kind of ties back in with the tactical gear item I was bringing up. Personally, for me, I got a tourniquet in my IFAC. I'm thinking about picking up one of those carriers and a second cat tourniquet myself. This way I have 2 of them on me at all times. Because, realistically, let's face it, in the civilian world, not every civilian is planning ahead or thinking about actual combat wound care. So instead of having to use my shit to provide for them under fire and then be shit out of luck because I don't have a tourniquet on me for myself if I go down, best bet's at least to carry 2, if not 3. This way you have a couple of spares to do what you got to do in the field. Get them the hell out.
No, it's funny you said that. I carry 4 of them. I've got 4. The reason why I have 4 is for each extremity. I got 1, 2, and 2 legs. So I carry 4. Just because you never know. Obviously, if you get shot multiple times and you're hitting all 4 extremities, you're pretty fucked as it is. But, it, like you said, it's not just me that I'm concerned with. I don't leave my house unless I'm going to work without Jonna, right? So because she's always with me, I need to be prepared. Now, off of what you just said, how you would like to have at least 2 or 3. By having 2, you've got at least 1 for yourself and 1 for somebody else if you needed to. And, it's awesome. I want to have redundancy. So I'd rather have 4. So it's 2 for me, 2 for somebody else, or 1 for me and 1 for 3 other people. Just to be as safe as possible, because you never know when shit's going to hit the fan. And, They're not heavy. They're not very big. So it's easy to carry, especially if you get what he was talking about, a tourniquet holder from 511 Tactical or somewhere else that you end up finding one from. One thing that I like to do, and this is kind of an old school thing, is put a tourniquet on the buttstock of the rifle and just band it on there. So then I have one within reach as well.
Yeah,
So,
and I mean, there's other ways too. You can do makeshift ones. They're not necessarily going to be as effective as a cat tourniquet, but one of the other things that I was taught in the CLS training, at least for tourniquet wise, is let's say you already use yours out of your IFAC because the other person went through theirs already, providing care for somebody else, or ended up losing it in the heat of the battle. You can take your actual duty belt and put it, place it in the same way you would a tourniquet, but tighten it down, and then take your combat compression bandage and wrap that over the top of the belt, just so this way you have a little bit more pressure to stop that wound as much as possible.
Absolutely. And a couple other ways that I was taught to do it too. Same thing with the paracord. Take paracord, wrap it around whatever part of the extremity that you have to. Get a stick and start twisting the shit out of it till it's super, super tight. And that also goes for slings. Get your hands on a stick or something close by. Take your sling, wrap it around your leg, and literally sit there and crank and crank and crank until it stops. That's a bunch of different survival techniques that are out there. So when it comes to the CLS training and stuff, in my mind, that personal IFAC kit, for me, that means trauma shears, quick clot, chest seals, tourniquets, a bunch of gauze,
nasal pharyngeal,
ace bandage wraps, and what?
Nasal pharyngeal tubes for restricted airway breathing.
Absolutely. There's a bunch of different things that you should carry, but those are probably the main things that you want to carry in an IFAC. And then, of course, you get into the boo-boo kit, which is your Band-Aids and aspirin and Tylenol and all that kind of shit.
Hydrogen peroxide, sterile wipes.
Yeah. So those are things you should carry in vehicles. I'm not saying carry an IFAC on you 24/7 everywhere you go, but you could. They make.
That's the whole thing. The IFAC that I have, if I really wanted to, I could take it off of my plate carrier and mount it on my EDC bag.
Jonna, go grab my plate carrier, please.
Mount it on my EDC bag, and you're not necessarily carrying it on your person. It's attached to your bag, so wherever your bag is wherever your IFAC is.
This is a Vertex bag. It's got molly webbing and stuff on it, so I could actually attach the IFAC that I have directly to that spot in the bag. That bag also has a concealed carry pocket, which is pretty badass.
Yeah, I'm running the SOG tactical bag.
That's awesome. Hurry up, please. So when he's talking about size of a IFAC, right? A couple magazines, vertical holster. There's my IFAC. It's very, very small and compact. It only takes up 2 lines on the actual molly web. And then when you rip it open, it completely comes out and it's completely loaded with a bunch of shit. So
mine actually has a detachable backing, bro. I don't know if yours does. So mine has a detachable backing. So basically what I can do with mine is I unclip the retention strap. I can grab it by the top drag handle, rip it off of my body.
Yeah.
And then the Velcro piece will still be on my plate carrier, but then I can freehand without it being right up on my body.
Yeah, mine has these quick pull tabs, so I can just quick pull and then detach it and go if I needed to, which apparently bad example because it's not coming all the way through the molle webbing. But what is that?
Meet Golden Knight.
Oh God. So that go pack go.
Go Pack Go.
Which we're not going to get into sports because that shit's all fucked up right now. But
yeah, it is.
Yeah, I need to upgrade. My IFAC. I bought this one just so I had something right. But it's supposed to have quick detach. I mean, I'm not wearing the vest properly right now either, so that's kind of making it difficult. But yeah, trauma shears and a bunch of little stuff, and literally, that's it. That's the size of it. It's just a tiny little pouch.
Yeah,
I mean, everything that I need.
Mine's a tad bigger than yours, width-wise, but I mean, realistically, even then, it doesn't take up that much space. And the one I am running right now, believe it or not, I bought it on Amazon for like $35. They're relatively cheap to have a fully put together IFAC, and you don't have to worry about buying the actual IFAC pouch and each individual item separately. I mean, you could do that if you wanted to do a thorough, air quotations when I say thorough, build on it, because nothing really is ever thorough when it comes to CLS. It's a lot more than just tourniquets and compression bandage and gauze. You actually have to have the knowledge to know how to stop bleeding, and provide that medical care, especially under fire. You don't want to, how do I put this, panic and rush something, and then your battle buddy still ends up dying anyway because there was a wound on them that you didn't catch because you didn't do a thorough search to make sure that there's no more blood coming out of them.
Right. Trauma shears, very, very important. You can expose a lot of different areas very, very quickly with trauma shears to be able to locate wounds and things like what you're talking about. There's plenty of examples where, somebody gets shot in the upper thigh, I'd say about 6 inches or so above the knee. And then, somebody goes to do trauma care on that one area and doesn't realize that a round went up and underneath the plate carrier side, like cummerbund or whatever, and now you've got a through and through in right underneath the rib cage area, and you miss it because the bleeding is going down. You're not seeing it. They may have a plate carrier that's obstructing the visual effect of it most of the time in the military. You have darker colored uniforms, you know what I mean? You're not wearing white, so your blood's not going to just easily stand out, not to mention you're going to be covered in dirt and whatever, dust, depending on the area that you're in. So you're exactly right. You know what I mean? You got to be very, very calm, not to mention being calm can actually save somebody's life, not just because you're being calm, but if you're not panicking, then more than likely they're not going to panic. Once you start panicking, laboring, having labored breathing, you're huffing and puffing, hyperventilating and stuff like that, you're causing blood circulation to speed up, which now they're pumping blood out faster, as to where if you help them slow the heart rate, calm them down, keep them breathing at a nice, easy pulse, you're less likely to have a situation where you could have saved a life and you lost that person's life because you didn't keep yourself grounded. You know what I mean? Now, me personally, I'm very squeamish. I don't like blood. I don't like none of that stuff. That's not something that I like to see. But I know with training and stuff like that, it's practice, right? So you see a lot of these paramedics and first aid classes and stuff where they have dummies out and they're teaching you how to do like CPR and stuff like that and do like basic bandage wraps and stuff. Why do you think they practice that? Not because they need to. They know how to do it. That's their job. That's what they do. That's what they were trained to do. They continue to practice it so they can stay as proficient at it as possible. And that goes right along with shooting, right? It's not like a bike where you could just hop back on and start pedaling and be fine. you can still pick up the gun and fire it, but are you going to be as accurate as you would be if you practiced on a semi-regular basis?
No, you're not going to be. And, that's the whole thing. And what a lot of people don't get to, especially the ones that mainly just deal with the boo-boo kits, a good portion of us that actually have IFACs and have gone through this training, it's not a death by PowerPoint only style class. You're actually, dealing with the dummies for certain scenarios. And then, especially in my case, being on the inside, they'd have us do the bandage wrap stuff on Battle Buddies and tourniquet, applications on Battle Buddies to kind of not only on one end get the experience putting the tourniquet on, placing it, and cinching it down, but for you to also understand what it feels like on the receiving end, having one put on you, and how tight the tourniquet can actually get to stop the flow of blood. So, it's training like that. And then in the process of all of that, you have a specific time limit, especially if you're given a scenario like this. Okay, I'm going to throw one at you. Person gets shot once 6 inches above the knee, and then shot under the cummerbund of their plate carrier. What's the first wound you're going to deal with first?
The first wound that I would deal with? Are you talking about investigation-wise, like trying to seek it out? Or are you talking actual medical treatment?
Actual medical treatment in field care under fire.
Okay, so obviously what I would do is I would get my whatever buddy with me, move to a better location, try to drag him out, get him to a safe area, identify where the wounds are, grab some quick clot, dump it on the wound that's right underneath the cummerbund, take his arms, push him down on him, and say, push down as hard as you can, then immediately go for the leg wound, get the tourniquet going. Once I have the tourniquet completely tight and secure and I know that I've stopped the flow of blood, then I can go back to the through and through wound and then proceed to do treatment there as much as I can, because I can utilize that person as long as they weren't hit in the arms and stuff like that. I can use them to my advantage. Not to mention, depending on where you place yourself when you're doing the medical treatment, if I have him cross his arms over the area and he's pushing down, if I lean myself up against him in the right spot to where I'm also putting pressure on his arms while I'm placing the tourniquet, that would allow me to kind of 2-in-1, if that makes sense. Would you agree, or do you have a different way of doing it?
Okay, so the way, it's a little similar, but minus the quick clot, because obviously in government IFACs that really, unless you are CLS certified and you're carrying the big medical bag, your personal IFAC isn't really going to have that. So first things first, the thing I would do is I'd obviously drag my battle buddy to cover, and then I would take their plate carrier, rip it up, open it, deal with that wound first, obviously, especially if it's hit a, lung or something going through and through there. I'd make sure that, that was the only place that they were hit, that it was a clean shoot through, no more blood. After I get it all gauzed up, stick some gauze in there, wrap it. Then I deal with their torso quick, make sure there's no more blood, no more wounds up there. And then I move down to the leg, apply that tourniquet, and strap down their vest again while keeping them calm. And then call up a 9-line medevac to get them the fuck out of there.
Absolutely. Very similar. I feel like we had very similar ideas. The quick clot, that's something that I carry. Like you said, it's not normally in a bunch of IFACs. It's not something that you're going to find, readily available in smaller personalized IFACs. I carry it just because I know it's a situation where when I'm going to need it, it's involving gunshots and stuff like that. You know what I mean? That's where I would be exposed to these type of areas as much as possible. And absolutely, like you said, shoving gauze into the wound also helps stop the blood. Applying pressure, of course, is going to help with stopping the blood flow. And then, I agree. We basically said the same thing. There was just a couple of
minor differences.
Yeah. But that comes down to the type of training that we've received.
Exactly.
Now, I feel like there's a lot of people that would look and go, okay, that's the visible wound. I'm going to do the leg first because I can see it. And most people aren't trained to look past that point, going, oh shit, there might be something else.
Yeah, and one of the quickest ways to tell that is just to do a digital check. And what I mean by a digital check, I know you know what that means, Wes, but for the viewers and listeners, a digital check is basically, just running your hands, down their body, patting them down, and then every like 2 or 3 pats, draw your hands out from under them quick, check for blood on your hands. If there's no blood, you keep on patting, and you go from head to toe. Obviously, if it's a visible wound, you can see, I would already, make a mental note of that. But if,
skipping that area and that pat down.
Yeah. If along the lines you end up drawing your hands out from, let's say around my back, if we were in a tactical combat situation and I was bleeding from my back and somehow it missed the plate carrier's actual plate portion just by enough to come through and ricochet and then make a straight beeline out the back, you're not necessarily going to see that until you're doing the pat down. And then at that rate, which is kind of highly unlikely that would happen, but I've seen weirder shit happen,
It'd be very easy for a round to come through my side because I just have a cummerbund set up. I have a plate in the front, plate in the back, and no side protection whatsoever. I mean, that's something that that you had kind of like standard issue, you know what I mean, with the vest that you guys had. And that's awesome. You know what I mean? I intend on getting something for the side. That's a 511 Tactical Tac plate carrier. They make side plates for the cummerbund and like a holding system for it. I just have to dig a little bit deeper into it. It's not something that I was too concerned with. But I also feel, too, from the civilian side of things, that's all I really need.
Yeah,
I don't intend on going into full-on combat anytime soon. Well, I mean, shit, fuck, look at the world right now. You have no idea. So I want to throw something out that you wouldn't have any knowledge of because it's not local to you. Out here in Vegas, within the past week and a half, there's been either a shooting murder, a stabbing, vehicle, like driving people over, like running them over, fucking murders, and robberies and shit like that has happened every single day, sometimes multiple times a day for at least the past week and a half. There's been some type of death every day for the past week and a half at least. So shit is getting real. Like just the other day, what was it? Yesterday, I was watching the news when I was getting ready in the morning, and on the bus, on an RTC bus, which is the transit,
Metro Transit.
Yeah.
Well, your version of my Metro Transit up here.
Yeah, exactly. And somebody randomly got stabbed on the fucking bus for no reason. They were just sitting there. Dude got mad, got up, and stabbed the other dude. Fuck, shit's real out here.
Oh, my fucking mind. But, that's the whole thing. Today's world is just so unpredictable with when shit's going to pop off.
Yep.
That, I'm sorry to say it, but the plate carrier you got is, better than nothing.
Yep.
And, let's be realistic. Somebody that's trying to fucking take your life isn't going to be, unless they're tactically trained, isn't going to be in the mindset of attacking you from the side where there's exposure.
Attack the rib cage.
Yeah, they're going to be either dead on, face to face, or they're going to try to come from behind.
Yeah, exactly.
And a good portion of the time I've seen it where situations have happened, and it usually starts from behind and ends up face to face.
Yep.
So
which that leads into the next topic we're going to talk about. situational awareness. Keeping yourself ready at all times as much as humanly possible, because don't forget, we are all actually humans. And well, some of us, you have your illegal friends, right? That come from. No, we're not getting into that. That was a joke. Situational awareness, though, is knowing your surroundings, right? Like, for example, and you probably do this as well. When I go into, like, say, a restaurant setting, I will not sit with my back towards people unless I have no other choice. That's like the seating arrangement that I was given. But if I have a choice, I'm sitting in a corner area without windows, back to the wall to where I can see anybody and everybody coming in. And then, of course, part of situational awareness is addressing exit points. We talk about this on every podcast. Get the fuck off the X as quick as possible. That means know your exit strategies as much as possible. Plus, having that visual confirmation of I can see every single person that comes in. I can be situationally aware of what's going on. And there's a lot of tells. People act like they don't. Oh, I didn't see that coming. Well, you weren't paying attention, because more often than not, somebody's going to come in to one of those areas. They're not going to walk in calm, nonchalant, acting like they're perfectly fine. That's very rarely the situation. Usually you'll see somebody come in, eyes real wide, fucking heavy breathing, sweating, real shaky, nervous. Any of those symptoms is something that you should pick up on and go, I wonder what the fuck's up with that guy. Why is he acting that way?
Right. And, this is going to be interesting for you, but, before we give Griff's definition of what situational awareness to him is, this is usually how I like to label it here. If you wouldn't mind me just going ahead and sharing this here with you. It's a color code system. Code white is you're unprepared and unready to take action. That's usually situations like you're out in public and you're walking down the street, per se, and your face is in your phone. You're not, watching your surroundings, making eye contact with people, surveying what's going on. Then right under situation code white, you got your situation yellow, which means you're prepared, alert, and relaxed, and you have good situational awareness. So that's kind of like you're relaxing at home, watching TV, blinds up during the daytime, and you're keeping an eye on things periodically as people are walking by, while keeping your head on a semi-swivel. And then, you go from yellow into orange, which is, your next level on up. Is you're alert to probable danger, ready to take action. That means, let's say, again, back to the walking down the street or in a restaurant or bar scenario, where you're sitting or you're walking down the street and somebody, comes up on you with a knife or a gun and they're threatening your life. If you're not on your phone, you're actually keeping your head on a swivel. You're making eye contact. You see the probable danger approaching your way, and you're ready to take action. Now, ready to take action doesn't necessarily mean jumping straight to drawing your firearm or weapon.
That means get the fuck off the X.
We've preached it. Get the fuck off the X. That's the first step there.
Right.
Now,
I'm going to cut you off real quick. Mr. Alex Alfonso has joined in on the live stream. We want to give you a shout out again. That's Alfred1227 on Instagram. That is who made that single point sling that I showed earlier in the live stream. Once again, big shout out to him, Alfred1227. Like I said, I cannot speak to the fact that that he would make you one for purchase, but you could definitely look him up on Instagram and seek him out and see if he would be willing to do that. I know I'm definitely glad that I got that sling from him. Like I said earlier, that is the most comfortable sling that I've ever had. It's ready to go, always puts the gun right in the perfect spot for where I need it to be. Works good with my plate carrier and stuff like that as well. So thank you again, Alex. We definitely appreciate the support.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for subscribing to my brother's channel. Feel free to go ahead and check out my channel over at Minnesota Overlanders on YouTube and on Facebook. Now, back to the color coding here. Going from orange to red, situational awareness there is going to be a little different. Red is action mode, focused on the emergency at hand. So for the very, 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 very fucking rare times where you can't get off the X, after you're in, alert mode orange, you're alert to the probable danger and ready to take action. Now, let's say you can't get off the X. Now, once you've reached this color code, if you can't get off the X, then it's time to focus on the emergency at hand and deal with it. And in some cases, it's, drawing your firearm and having to discharge it. Other times it's just having to what the law would consider brandish your firearm. And the bad guy usually will turn and, decide he's not ready for that today and wants to just, fuck with somebody else. But, again, situational awareness goes, through the different stages. So then you go into black mode, which is panic breakdown of physical and mental performance. And you never want to go black. I'll tell you this right now, basically I would consider that tunnel visioning. You're panicked. Your only line of sight is what's right in front of you. You're not being aware of your surroundings outside of what's staring you right back in the face. Especially in the scenario you have to draw your firearm and pull the trigger. That's something that you want to try to avoid as much as possible. And the one way to do that is just keep a level head about yourself the entire time. Keep your head on a swivel. Be situationally aware. And to do that, that kind of ties into Griff's definition of it. And Griff's definition of situational awareness is talking about developing situational awareness. The first thing that he would recommend doing to at least bring it into a everyday routine for yourself is make a game from it. So point things out. Let's say you're walking down the road and you're on your way into work. Somebody that's brand new there, you don't recognize before, you point that out and go, hey, keep my eye out for that guy. Or, you're focused on one thing, but yet you're still alert to everything else around you. Make a game out of it. So this way, it feels like you're playing a game, but really you're actually being situationally aware. You can also play it with your buddies, people watch, things of that nature. Definitely keep in mind, though, situational awareness is a little bit more in depth of a self mindset and state of mind than actual physicalness, so to speak.
Absolutely. And that chart, I've seen that chart before, and that's one of those things where you want to stay on yellow as much as you possibly can, which means be relaxed, but be alert, be ready if you ever have to be. And just because you're home doesn't necessarily mean you're 100% safe. 99.999 go on forever percent of the time you're going to be okay while you're at home, but that doesn't mean that you don't keep yourself in a state of preparedness if you need to. I think that's very important. That chart was also featured on Warrior Poet Society from John Lovell, and he does a whole video on situational awareness as well. So that's something you guys might want to check out on there. But we are going to move into the next topic. vehicle loadouts. So when it comes to a vehicle loadout, everything that we've talked about to this point during the podcast all has a play into a vehicle loadout. You should have some type of medical equipment in your vehicle at all times. You should have some like emergency food rations. Me personally, I keep about 3 days worth of emergency food per person in my family that is in my vehicle. So in the event that we're ever stuck, we've got at least 3 days worth of food. I keep ammunition in the vehicle. I keep, guns and stuff like that when I'm in the vehicle. And of course, only if I'm like running into the store or if I go into a restaurant to where I still place myself in a situationally smart spot, but I also want to be able to see my vehicle. So just in case, because I'm not carrying, excuse me, an AR pistol into the restaurant with me. So being situationally aware in that factor is a big thing. And then the tactical gear and stuff like that we have listed off is something that's important as well. You want to keep these type of items in your vehicle. Now, I also keep, when it comes to a vehicle loadout, my truck, I have a 4-door truck, so I've got quite a bit of room. I had to think about it in the sense of, okay, this is my, not really daily driver. It would be my daily driver if I didn't have a work vehicle. But so my daily driver, I wanted it to be as nonchalant and gray man as possible. And when I say gray man, what I mean by that is it doesn't look like all of these items are just there. I don't want to take up a bunch of room in the vehicle to where I can't fully utilize the back row of seats. Don't want to take up space in the front. And I also don't want to just load down the back of the truck to where there's no room for moving cargo and stuff. So I have everything strategically placed without the vehicle to where I can get to it with no problem. And then I keep a little pop-up tent in the back of the truck. I keep some cooking supplies, way to make hot meals if I had to in the back of the truck, some toiletries and things like that. So basic camping survival gear I have in 2 totes strapped up all the way up to the bed of the truck where it's right up against the back window. So like the front of the bed is where I keep that stuff strapped, which still allows me to have room to put other items. And then, of course, I have a tonneau cover and the locking tailgate latch. So I can keep all these type of items in my vehicle, still utilize it as a daily driver, still take a full car of people with me without giving up a seat because there's too much survival gear and stuff like that in it. But it's practical, too, to where I'm not weighing it down and burning up gas mileage because I'm trying to be over-prepared. When Jack says that we're preppers, I dislike the term prepper. Yes, I like to be prepared. I like to have preparedness, but the term prepper is just so associated with like crazy ideologies and things like that to where I don't like the term prepper. But yes, got to be
For
prepared.
lack of a better term.
Yeah, for a lack of a better term, prepper, I guess, is what we go with. And you don't have to be a crazy person to be prepared. It's something that all of us should do. And I mean, look at it. Look at what happened with the beginning of the COVID stuff. Toilet paper flew off the shelves. Paper towel flew off the shelves. There was barely any meat products in any stores, at least here in Vegas. And that leads to the thought process of, fuck, nobody in this town is prepared for anything. The shit happened that I had, I had toilet paper and paper towels and meat products and all this stuff already in the house. And I'm looking around going, wow, apparently people didn't use hygiene and only buys 1 package of ground beef at a time. Like, I don't get it. It just never made sense to me to live with not enough supplies for more than just one activity.
Right. And, that's the whole thing. I usually go and buy my meat product in bulk at Costco myself. So this way, I have a decent amount of stuff to grill or even cook cook inside the house for at least 2 weeks in advance. And that, gets me through even sometimes 3 weeks, depending on what we decide to do for dinner. But, we had toilet paper, paper towel, and then for a while there, it was hard to even find toilet paper and paper towel, let alone hand sanitizer or sanitizing wipes. It was a pain in the ass to even get one per customer in certain stores up here. By the way, just want to go ahead here quick and shout out Alex Alfonso. Thank you for following Minnesota Overlanders on YouTube. That's greatly appreciated. I went ahead and subscribed back to you just so, we're kind of sharing the love there. I know you've done a lot of good stuff here supporting Sincity Tactical, so it's much appreciated. If it wasn't for Sincity Tactical, we wouldn't be here, so
I appreciate it. Definitely. I appreciate the support, especially for the rest of my brand, not just myself. We do have that store like we talked about. It's been scrolling across the bottom throughout the whole show. Go ahead and check that stuff out. Plus, we both have Patreon accounts now. There is a Patreon for Sincity Tactical and a Patreon for the Minnesota Overlanders, 2 separate entities in that facet. But what that allows us to do is to create better content, get better equipment so we can make better content, and be able to continue to do this for you guys. It's something that we enjoy to do. As Jax has mentioned, we don't get paid to do these. Something that we enjoy, but we definitely would appreciate the support. We know that the store, not everybody has the cash readily available to buy a shirt or something like that right now. We do have membership levels on the Patreon that start at $5 a month. And, if that's still not something that you're able to do, liking videos, subscribing to all the social media facets, and commenting and stuff like that helps in a big way too. So financially, you don't have to back us. If you're unable to, we would appreciate it. But if you're unable, there's ways that you can help. So just a quick little shout out when it comes to the Patreon. It is just Sincity Tactical. That's my username, basically off of all of the social media platforms. By donating to the Patreon to help support the channel, not only does it do the better equipment for better content and stuff like that and help keep these live streams and stuff going, we're also going to take a lot of the proceeds. Me and Jonna, at least on the Sincity Tactical side, are going to take a lot of the proceeds and buy a lot of sandwich making supplies, individualized chip bags, little deodorant sticks, little toothpaste, and travel size toiletries, and make up basically a grab bag of things that we would want to take and go down to poverty stricken areas in our own town and seek out the homeless veterans and or just homeless people in general that genuinely need help. I will say this, being a recovered addict myself, I know that it can be beaten. You can beat the addiction. And if you're somebody out there that's struggling with addiction, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to talk to anybody about it and try to help you as a sponsoring type of role to help you get through that addiction. So I don't say this lightly. I say it heavy-heartedly. I'm also a believer in not enabling bad behavior. So when I say I'm looking for homeless veterans to help or homeless people in need, I'm going to look for the ones that look at least healthy but are in just a bad situation. I'm sorry if if it comes across wrong in people's eyes, but I'm not going to enable someone to be homeless and continue to do drugs because it's going to end up killing them. And I will not take part in somebody taking their own life because of drugs. So, like I said, it's something that can be beaten. If you need help with that, reach out. I'd be more than willing to talk with you and help you find a solution to beat the addiction. But I want to enable people who are just down on their bad luck to be able to better their situation. Of course, I'm not saying that I wouldn't help somebody that has, a drug problem or alcoholism or something along the lines of that. But I would definitely, be choosing of who that goes to. And the reason why I'd be choosing when it comes to that is because when you donate or become a member of the Patreon, what I'm going to do is print out a bunch of labels with your name on there, and it's going to go into an individualized bag. So for every person that does become a member, I'm going to take your brand badge, put it inside of a meal bag or a grab bag with all those items that I just listed off. And when I give it to somebody and they go through the contents, they'll be able to see that you were also there to help them as well. And I think that's a big thing.
Yeah, and that's an awesome idea. I think I'm gonna do a little bit different of a give back way with mine. I'm literally not that far from Fort Snelling, let alone the VA home or the VA hospital itself. So, some of the proceeds from that, outside of what's used for obviously production for making videos and giving you guys the content, and equipment upgrades and that, I'm going to go right along ahead and take those proceeds and donate it to the veterans, especially at the VA home. I know we try to stay away from civilian life as much as possible on here, but for a brief time, I did work as a security guard at that VA home and grew close to a lot of the staff members as well as the residents there. So, granted, I know the VA gets looked at sometimes in a bad way, but they're taking care of the guys that came before myself, and there's not much more you can ask for. They're safe, in good hands there, and are what I've seen anyway on my end being treated fairly and taken care of. So just trying to get back.
I would never stop you from talking about anything related to veterans in need. I will never, ever, ever have a problem with that being a personal life topic.
No, I was talking more on the work side.
Well, I know the work related. Even then, you were supporting people that fought for this country. That we can talk about as much as you want. Current personal day jobs that we have, we ain't need to talk about them. But that's something that hits close to home, at least for me. Like I said, and I know you mentioned it on your live stream. We're actually going to turn this into the open discussion. We're going to leave the last topic, the bad weather training, for the next week's podcast.
Or we'll do it on Minnesota Overlanders.
Yeah, bad weather training is pretty basic. You know what I mean? That's a quick topic that we can throw down. But where was I going with this? So the open discussion part of it, it's one of those things where you mentioned it on your podcast live stream show when I was a guest on there, where, I wanted to go into the military, right? Got a heart condition, stuff like that. Not going to make it. Can't do it, unfortunately. My brother, Richard, military. One of my grandfathers, military. There's been a bunch of military throughout my family, and I always felt the need for wanting to serve and earn what I consider is my freedom, right? I know and I appreciate everything that the military has done to fight for my freedom and for my family's freedom. I just felt like I needed to earn my freedom. And unfortunately, I was unable to do that. So I'm very, very grateful for anybody who has. That includes you, Jax. I know, you have your military background, and I appreciate what you did because you went and did something that I was unable to do. It's kind of like a Captain America situation in my sense. I just didn't get the fancy doctor to help me out. You know what I mean? So I try to make up for it in other ways. Like, for example, earlier today, I was driving down the road. Old lady's tire popped on the freeway, and I watched it happen. I pulled over and I changed her tire for her. She was very, very grateful. She tried to give me money. I told her no. I wanted to give her a sense of hope in humanity. that
And
the world ain't just as crazy as it is. There are still good people out here. And yes, I'm fucking pro 2A, and I'm a Trump supporter, and I'm labeled as a monster because I'm Caucasian and Trump supporter and pro 2A and covered in tattoos. I get a stereotypical mindset in person, but she was an African American lady on top of it, which should not have any mention whatsoever. But I'm putting that out there right now because we're not all fucking racist. You know what I mean? Everybody has their own beliefs. And yeah, I'm fucking racist, but I'm racist towards individuals. I give everybody an equal opportunity. You fuck that up, you're done. That's it, period. You know what I mean? There's no need for color to be brought into it in that sense. You know what I mean? I have my beliefs, and that is what it is. But when I see anybody in need and it's something that I know I can help with, I try to.
Yeah, and speaking of that, kind of to touch on your story, and this isn't necessarily just a review because I just picked this up today. I'm still in the process of working with it and figuring out the actual system and how it works. Actually wasn't that expensive, about $25 at Wally World. But I went ahead and picked up a nice little dash camera. Comes with a 8 gigabyte SD card. And it's, in my opinion, it's good to have one of these, not only for situations per se like that, because let's face it, if it was something worse than just a tire popping and you guys were able to pull off to the side of the road and take care of it, let's just say that unfortunately by fucking weird circumstances, the tire would have popped and then, a person could have hit somebody. Well, obviously, I don't know if it's a rule in Nevada, but here in Minnesota, if you witness an accident and are one of the first 1 or 2 cars behind the accident, you have to pull over with those people and wait for the police to arrive to give your statement of what happened. My thing is,
fucking assholes here, though.
Yeah, but instead of sitting there and explaining it for 20 minutes to the cop, you can just pull up the video, showing them what happened, and then let them be the judge of it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Cool. And not just that, it's a situation too where a couple years back on Jonna's birthday, we were rear-ended and I dislocated some ribs and had some issues where I pinched a nerve in my L4, L5, and had to go to physical therapy and a bunch of shit, and I got screwed bad. Didn't get money really for fixing the vehicle. They offered me like $400. My truck was lifted a little bit, so the car had gone underneath the rear bumper a little bit. So visual damage to my vehicle wasn't significant. And then, of course, the person's car looked worse than my truck. Well, when it did that, it knocked the transmission out of alignment by 2.5 inches and caused it to leak hella bad, like dump fluid out. If I parked like this, it would dump all the fluid. It'd be empty. I had to try to park on flat areas. They gave me $400 for that. And then I did physical therapy for like 7 months and got like a $1,500 settlement. I didn't have a dash cam at the time. If I did, I would have been able to prove how bad the situation really was, because when we got hit, like I said, it was her birthday. We were on our way to a theme park that's here in Vegas when we got hit. And, it was just shitty. I wish I had something to be able to protect us better. And I didn't. I was not prepared for that to happen. Of course, now I have a dash cam in the new truck, but it's just sad how shit played out.
Well, and that was the whole thing with me for the longest time. I never did either. And then, I know we have our channels on YouTube and that, but one day I was scrolling through some of those police audit videos that we were talking about a few podcasts back. And, one of the guys on there got wrongfully pulled over, I mean, unlike mine, his actually tracks his speed along with his Google Maps and everything else, and he set the cruise control and still got pulled over. The cop was the one speeding. And so not only can it, help mitigate some of that issue, especially if the cop does decide to write you a ticket and you go to court and try to fight it, and the judge asks you for some form of proof that you weren't speeding, you can go, oh, hey, this is this. I got a clock in my speedometer or this, that, and the third, whatever the case may be, to get yourself, hopefully out of paying a fine that you were wrongfully charged with. Or in the case of Wes's scenario, the accident. And me, myself, for the longest time, never fucking even thought of carrying a dash cam in my vehicle. It was something that I recently thought about just because, I know winter's coming up. I've seen it happen before, spin outs, accidents, because first snowfall of the year, even though people have lived in Minnesota for either all their lives or a few years, whatever, timeline they're at in their span here, I've seen first snowfall happen and people seem to forget how to fucking drive in snow. And, it's sad because I never would have even thought about it until I started watching those videos. And it dawned on me, it's actually a smart idea to have it for many different reasons.
Yep.
It's a multi-purposeful tool, not item, but tool in case of an accident or a spin out or a hit and run even. Somebody could hit somebody in front of you and then decide to run. Well, if you ain't got a dash cam in front of you and you can't catch the license plate number quick enough visually, well, that person's probably going to get away with it.
Absolutely. And that speaks to the bad weather training, learning how to adapt to those type of situations. Obviously, moral of the story, and this is going to wrap up the live stream, but we're going to leave it with the bad weather training. Go slow in any situation. If there's bad weather, take your time. Be precise, mentally prepare yourself before you partake in the activity, and think about others. Don't just willy-nilly start fucking driving down the road or doing something stupid because you think you're okay. Brakes lock up. Black ice is a real fucking thing.
Yep.
There's too many variables that could lead to a bad situation. But, Jax, I want to thank you for coming on. And
hey, thanks for having me, brother.
Absolutely. We will catch you on the next one.
Sounds good. Catch you on the flip side.